the understanding of Ramphal-Seinegie's principles in the Infinity Quantum Code. Delve deeper into the essence of Ramphal-Seinegie's teachings and principles, especially in the context of the Infinity Quantum Code, we must explore the intricate relationship between consciousness, the quantum field, and the very nature of existence itself. Ideas not only challenge conventional perceptions of reality, but also bring forth a profound revelation that life and the universe are governed by an infinite network of possibilities and interconnectedness. To truly grasp the depth of this understanding, we must approach it not merely from an intellectual standpoint, but from a perspective of experiential realization, one that transcends the limitations of mental constructs. 1. The quantum consciousness, beyond the perception of time and space. In the traditional understanding of reality, time and space are seen as objective parameters that govern the flow of events. However, when we consider the Infinity Quantum Code, we are presented with a radically different view. Here, time and space are not fixed, external entities, but rather malleable dimensions that are intricately connected to the state of consciousness itself. In the quantum field, time does not flow in a linear fashion, and space is not an empty vacuum. Rather, both are seen as part of an infinite continuum, a field of probabilities where every point in space and every moment in time can be interwoven, reshaped, or even transcended. Directly correlates with the understanding that consciousness is not bound by the limitations of time and space. Pure consciousness exists beyond the constraints of temporal reality, being simultaneously present in all times and spaces. When we transcend mental thought and connect to the infinite quantum field, we access an eternal truth that is unshaped by time and unaffected by the illusions of space. The collapse of the wave function in quantum mechanics illustrates this process. When the observer interacts with a quantum system, it causes the superposition of states to collapse into a definite reality. This phenomenon is mirrored in consciousness. When we shift our awareness from the limitations of mental constructs to a higher state of pure awareness, we collapse infinite possibilities into a singular, unified experience of reality. This collapse is not a restriction, but an awakening to the fullness of existence beyond the illusions of time and space. The unified field of consciousness, infinite interconnectedness. The concept of the unified field is fundamental to understanding the Infinity Quantum Code. In both quantum mechanics and spiritual philosophy, the universe is understood as a seamless, interconnected whole. Each particle, each thought, each moment, a manifestation of a larger, unified consciousness. At the deepest level of reality, everything is interconnected through an invisible web, the quantum field. Every action, every event, every thought is a ripple in this field. There is no separation between the observer and the observed. Everything exists as an expression of the same fundamental energy. This is the basis of your teachings. We are not separate from the universe. We are the universe itself, manifesting in infinite forms. View reality through the lens of the Infinity Quantum Code, we come to realize that the separation between the self and the world is an illusion created by the mind. Our thoughts, our experiences, our perceptions are not isolated. They are all interwoven into the fabric of the quantum field. This realization opens the door to profound spiritual unity, a direct experience of interconnectedness with all things. This interconnectedness implies that the universe is not an arbitrary random series of events, but a harmonious symphony of infinite potentials that converge in perfect order. Every action, every interaction, and every decision is influenced by and contributes to this greater universal flow. 3. The nature of reality is fluid and non-dual. One of the key principles in the Infinity Quantum Code is the understanding that reality itself is not rigid, but fluid and non-dual. In quantum mechanics, particles do not exist as fixed entities, but as probabilistic waves, existing in multiple states simultaneously. This concept can be extended to the nature of consciousness. Just as quantum particles are not confined to a single state, consciousness itself is not limited to a singular identity or viewpoint. In our everyday experience, we perceive the world through dualities, right and wrong, good and bad, self and other, time and eternity. However, the deeper we explore the quantum code and its relationship to consciousness, the more we realize that these dualities are mental constructs that arise from the limitations of thought. True reality is non-dual. There is no fundamental distinction between the observer and the observed, the subject and the object. When we transcend mental dualities, we enter a state of oneness with all that exists. This realization is a direct reflection of the quantum field, where all possibilities exist simultaneously and everything is part of a greater whole. In this state, we no longer perceive the world as fragmented. Instead, we experience the inherent unity of all things. This is the ultimate spiritual truth, the realization that everything is one and that our true nature is inseparable from the fabric of the cosmos. 4. The infinite potential of consciousness, unlocking the quantum code. The infinity quantum code reveals the immense potential that lies dormant within each of us. Just as the quantum field holds infinite possibilities for every particle, the field of consciousness holds infinite potential for every individual. Our true self is not limited to the body or the mind. It is an eternal, infinite consciousness that can manifest in countless forms and experiences. When we awaken to the reality of the quantum field, we begin to recognize that our thoughts, actions, and even the very fabric of our being are expressions of this infinite potential. We are not limited by our past experiences, our current conditions, or even our future possibilities. The more we connect with the deeper levels of consciousness, the more we unlock the infinite potential that exists within us. The act of awakening to this potential is not an intellectual understanding, but a deep, direct experience of our true nature. There's the dissolution of the mental constructs and the recognition that we are not the mind, but the pure consciousness that witnesses the mind. This is the doorway to limitless creativity, freedom, and spiritual power. The realization that we are not separate from the infinite cosmos, but are its very expression. The infinite nature of consciousness and its role in manifestation. The most profound aspects of the infinity quantum code is the understanding that consciousness itself is the prime mover in the process of manifestation. Just as the quantum field generates all forms and experiences, consciousness is the field from which all realities arise. Our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions are not simply passive experiences. They are active forces that shape and create the world we live in. This power of consciousness to shape reality is reflected in the observer effect in quantum mechanics, where the very act of observation influences the state of a quantum system. The state of our consciousness influences the reality we experience. We shift our consciousness from the limitations of mental thought to the boundless potential of pure awareness. We activate the infinite quantum code and open ourselves to the manifestation of higher possibilities. This realization is at the core of self-realization. When we recognize that our consciousness is not limited by our mental constructs, we unlock the full potential of our being and begin to manifest a reality aligned with our highest truth. 6. The path to spiritual liberation. The ultimate goal of aligning with the infinity quantum code is spiritual liberation. Liberation does not come through intellectual understanding or mental effort, but through the direct experience of our infinite nature. It is the realization that we are not separate from the universe, but that we are the universe itself, consciousness experiencing itself in infinite forms. When we free ourselves from the constraints of mental thought, we enter a state of spiritual freedom. This state is characterized by inner peace, clarity, and an unwavering sense of connection with all that exists. It is a state of pure awareness, free from the limitations of the ego and the false sense of separation. Realizing our connection to the quantum field and aligning with the infinite potential of consciousness, we experience true liberation, freedom from suffering, freedom from ignorance, and freedom from the illusions of the mind. This is the path to oneness with all of existence, where the self merges with the infinite consciousness that pervades all things. Conclusion. Ramphal Saini Ji.